The Houston Rockets beat the Golden State Warriors, tie up the series at 109-94. This was the Jalen Green game. Maybe the first of many. We don't know. Kwab, do we know? Could it be?
Could it be? Maybe.
Could it be
Possibly.
the first of many Jalen Green? We don't know.
Don't know.
But it is, for now, the Jalen Green game. Let's get into the box score. First for the Rockets, Jalen Green. He heard y'all trying to trade him. Sengun with 17 and 16. Dylan Brooks with 16 points. For the Warriors, Steph Curry is really the only one who did anything. Moses Moody had 12, and Jimmy Butler hurt his pelvic bone. Down goes Jimmy. Not good. Not good.
That wasn't good. By the way, let's get this out the way. I don't think that Amen was trying to injure him.
Oh no, not at all. He got hit.
He got pushed and tripped. And I hate that's going to be the narrative for some people.
I don't think that's going to be the narrative. I don't think anyone thought that was on purpose. Do you? Like, I
don't. I was on Twitter and I saw people say, "Oh, he injured our best." Like there was a lot of people saying
who said that. Like Warriors fans 6'7", 4'5", 7'7", 6" with an avatar.
Hey man, leave that person alone.
Listen,
that's
I'm just saying. There are a lot of one of my favorite tweets I've ever done, and this is like patting myself on the back. Is NBA Twitter's wild because you never know when you're debating a 12-year-old.
Very, very
true. You don't know. Like you have no idea. It's like you're going back and forth with this avatar, and that it could be Mike from New Jersey who's 12 years old.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't know. Anyway, let's get into it. Jalen Green, I think, is the number 1, number 2, number 3 story because for me, and we said this time and time again after Rockets games where he's had good games. If Jalen Green is hitting the 3 and hitting his jump shot, this team is really freaking hard to beat. Yep. Like, really hard to beat. Because if he can get going, if he can be a consistent scorer, number 1 or 2 option for the Rockets, it solves a lot of their problems offensively. He is their most athletic player. He is their most explosive player when he's on. He can hit the 3. He can get to the rim. He's such a mismatch problem that if he gets going with the Rockets defense and all that, they are freaking tough. And he had 38 points. Houston Rockets team record, I think he tied it, 8 3-pointers. They are 13-1 when he scores 30 points, Kwab. 13-1. That is a ridiculous stat. And I think that just shows what we've been saying all season. Jalen Green gets buckets, the Rockets are going to win. If Jalen Green averages 30 for the rest of this series, the Rockets are winning this series. I'm comfortable saying that. I know it's kind of reductive because Steph can go off. Who knows what's going on with Jimmy right now? If Jimmy doesn't come back, this team's in trouble. We'll get into that in a second. But Jalen Green playing the way he played today is so huge for the Rockets. I mean, after game 1, there was a lot of criticism headed his way, including from us. Him and Fred were horrible, and they need to be better for the whole series in order for the Rockets to even have a chance. And he showed up, man. I know a lot of people on Rockets Twitter. Actually, we've gotten some Rockets followers, and I followed some back, looking to trade this guy.
That's crazy.
He heard you.
That's crazy. I get him having a bad game, especially like it's his first playoff game. So you kind of expect him to have a rough game. So like it's great to see that how well he adjusted the second game and coming out and playing this way is like what you expect and what you need from him. He had a bunch of explosive plays throughout the course of the game, and he looked like a completely different player compared to game 1. In terms of the backcourt, like Fred still needs to play better for them to get to where they want to get. But like we always say, like if Jalen Green is shooting like this and playing like this, like the Rockets they're unbeatable because you know what you're gonna get from Sengun.
Right.
He's been consistent all year. You know what you're getting from Amen Thompson, and to a certain degree, you know what you're getting from Dylan Brooks also from like the starting lineup. You need a consistent Jalen Green, and when he's consistent, the Rockets it feels like you're unbeatable.
Yeah, and shout out to the Rockets too. I mean, defensively, they were literally picking up Steph Curry with or without the ball at half court. Like literally crossing half court, face guarding you. You are, we are taking you out, bro. Like, you are not going to be a part of anything that's going on. And Steph still had a decently efficient game because he's Steph Curry. But the Rockets went up early and just kind of held on to that lead. And to be fair, this is not why they won, but in most part because Jimmy Butler went down. And when the Warriors don't have Jimmy Butler and you got to play Spencer, Quentin Post, Kuminga got burned. We talked about Jonathan Kuminga, and he wasn't that great today. I wonder why. Maybe because you don't play him, and maybe because he hasn't had game action in a while. You can't just expect somebody to show up and start balling out for you, Steve Kerr. That's not the point. My point is, without Jimmy Butler, like, who are you turning to as your number 2 option, right? Today it was Moses Moody, but he only had 12. Yeah. So it's like Steph didn't really have much help. Draymond was getting into it all game with the Houston Rockets team, and it seemed like it affected him more than it affected the Rockets. It was a, the Warriors won game 1, so your goal as the road team the first 2 games is to get a split. So they accomplished their goal, but it's still like, if you're a Warriors fan, you're like, we won game 1, why not win game 2? And then the series right there, it's not technically over, but you could say that if the Rockets went down 0-2, it would be hard to come back from that deficit with 2 games coming up in San Francisco. So huge victory for the Rockets. I thought defensively their pressure was way more intense than it was in game 1. The Warriors on the opposite end, I don't think they really played as intense defense as they did in the first game. The ball pressure wasn't there. Shout out to the Rockets too. The pick and roll with Jalen Green was working. Şengün, same thing, the pick and roll. When they got into the paint, they made sure they, got a good shot in the paint, finished at the rim. They out-rebounded the Rockets. They out-rebounded the Warriors. They were just a better team tonight, and the Warriors didn't really have any answers on the offensive end. They couldn't come up with anything. I think a lot of it was Jimmy going down and hurting himself, kind of took out the wind of their sail, from their sails. They were losing anyway at that point, but with Jimmy in the game, you have more options. There's more you can do. When you're playing Spencer and Post as many minutes as you're playing them, it's no offense to these guys, but these are not guys who are going to lead you deep into the playoffs. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, a lot of credit to the Rockets. I feel like they came out with the right mindset to start the game. Like, you could tell, like, they realized that they felt like they came out really soft game 1, and the intensity they came out with game 2 was just like the correct way to come out with, especially for a young team that really hasn't seen the playoffs. I know that's like a whole thing, but in game 1 they looked like the inexperienced team, and they weren't getting that much help from the veterans. That's why you expected more from like a Fred throughout the course of the game, and you didn't really get that. But even you had a great game from Tari, and he came off the bench.
Tari was great today. Fantastic today
on both sides of the ball. Yep. It looked more like the Rockets team overall in terms of defense, rebounding, and when they go to the 2 big lineup, getting out on a break, finishing. Like, they look like the Rockets team we've seen all year. So it was great to see them playing this way. I don't know how much it affected the Warriors seeing, like, Jimmy go down, like, mentally, like, because, again, they play so many minutes. Jimmy allows them to play so many minutes with Curry sitting. And I think, who was on the broadcast?
I had it on mute. I don't know.
Van Gundy was on the broadcast. I think he made the point that if the Warriors were down 0-1 instead of being up 1, Curry would probably be playing more minutes. But to your point, I'm like, why not try to go get game 2 anyway? But, like, try to go if you need to have that mindset. But it felt like the better team won today with the way the Rockets came out and played. The Warriors could definitely be in trouble with the injuries they have now, because it wasn't only just Jimmy. Like, Pods was dealing with something. Gary Payton was, I think, his shoulder. He was dealing with something. So that's why you're seeing, like, Pat Spencer and all this, to the point where, like, Kerr was forced to play Kuminga. Like, he doesn't. To me, it feels like he doesn't.
He didn't want to do it. He did not want to do it.
He doesn't want to play Kuminga. Like, and it's funny enough because last year Kuminga had to go to Shams in order to get playing time. Like, people forget that actually happened. Like he had to go to Shams to complain to get playing time during the course of the season. So however that relationship is, it might be strained, whatever it is. But I think there was a report today where Steve Kerr was like, "Oh, Jonathan has to stay ready because you never know when he's gonna get in the game." And he's been.
But how do you expect him? I'm sorry to cut you off, but how do you expect him to stay? Like, you have. This isn't like the first time, like, Kuminga has been benched or out of the rotation. Yeah. Like, how do you expect someone to even want to play for you at that point? I understand, like, you playing for yourself. your next contract, your career. So you want to go out there and you want to win and you want to do well for yourself. But at the same time, it's like if you're being jerked back and forth, especially when you're someone like Kuminga, who has been kind of like touted as like the next guy for this team, and you're sometimes you're playing, sometimes you're not. You're in the dark. You don't know why. Like, how do you expect someone like Kuminga to come off cold off the bench because other players got injured? Not because you believe in him, not because you're giving him another shot, but it's like, hey, you got to get it in there now. No other choice. And expect him to do anything more than what he did today. Yeah. You can't. And I don't know. Like, Warriors fans, if you're watching, like, drop a comment. Like, what's going on? Because I don't understand why Kerr just refuses to play him.
I don't know. I've seen some people say it's just been a bad, like, I guess, fit with Butler and him on the floor. But
then make him your sixth man and stagger the minutes. Like, you don't have to play him together.
I trust me. I don't know. I feel like there are different ways they should be able to use him. And I think me and you both expected him to play more in this like matchup against the Rockets because of how athletic he is and how he can affect the game against a young team like the Rockets. But Steve Kerr, like, he's just it looks like he's just not going to be on the team next year, even though he's a restricted free agent. We don't know, but
no, they're not going to sign him. He's going to sign a deal, and the Warriors are not going to bother.
Yeah, like you said, it's up to, like, if there are Warrior fans in the comments, let us know, like, your feelings about that whole situation. To me, it looks like the momentum has kind of swung in the Rockets' favor with this win and how things are looking. Do you think they take the next game?
I do if Jimmy's out. Okay. I do. I don't think it'll be easy. I don't expect Jalen Green to hit.
You have no faith in Pat Spencer? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't. This sounds reductive, but I think a lot of it has to do whether or not, like, Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green are hitting the three. Like, it is no coincidence they won the way they won today because Jalen had 8 threes, and the zone wasn't working as well because Jalen had 8 threes, and the zone wasn't working as well because they were more decisive when they got into the middle of the zone. The Warriors are playing a matchup zone again, and it threw the Rockets off like crazy in the first game, but this game they seemed to be more decisive. They were more confident shooting the ball, and that's really all it takes. We talk about this all the time, the Rockets. They are offensively deficient, but it's not like they have bad offensive players. Yeah. For the most part, they just have, like, inconsistent offensive players. And, Jalen Green goes into San Francisco, Golden State, and he has another 5 3-pointers, 6 3-pointers. Yeah, I think with Jimmy Butler hurt, if Pat Spencer's going to get burned, if Quentin Post, who actually played well today, if he's going to get burned, like, and a Kuminga who's still kind of like, I don't know what I am to this team. Yeah, I think the Rockets win Game 3. Now, we're a long way from that. We don't know what Jimmy's status is like. We don't know how bad Pods is hurt. There are a lot of questions. But if Jimmy and Pods aren't playing or 100%, I don't know who that second scorer is going to be.
Yeah.
They started the second half without them both. And the team that was on the floor was like, Quentin Post and Gary Payton are starting the second half with you down. It's this. Like, I was watching the game and I was like, this is not a team that advances in the playoffs, even with Steph Curry. Just not. Yeah. You can say whatever you want about Curry. You can say whatever you want about the Warriors and schemes and blah 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 blah. But like that, just the talent level compared to what Houston has, it just isn't the same.
It's crazy because if you really think about it, the Warriors without Jimmy Butler is essentially a 500 team. And the difference he made since after the trade with, like, the win streak they went on kind of propelled them into the playoffs. But before the trade, they were essentially like a low-end 500 team. Funny enough, I got our mutual friend Zach. He texted me during the game. He was like, I can't believe Pat Spencer is in the game. Then he was like, wait, well, he's actually playing better than Buddy Hield. So I guess
Pat wasn't bad. Yeah, Pat wasn't bad.
And then it reminded me, I'm like, wait, Buddy Hield is on this team. So, like, during when the season started, Buddy Hield was having a great shooting performance to the point where some people were like, yeah, he's a real splash brother and all this, like, stuff they were saying, like, we don't need Clay. And he's been so inconsistent the whole year. That's another player that might need to step up too if Jimmy's not in the game. So they're going to need something.
Yeah, someone, because it's going to get to the point where they're not going to let Curry do anything. They're just not going to let him do anything.
I mean, yeah, that would be the game plan. Like, somebody else got to beat us.
Yeah, but overly so because you can have that plan going into the game, but like if Jimmy Butler's on the floor, you kind of have to adjust here and there. Even Kuminga, man, and that's the thing with Kerr. It's like Kuminga's supposed to be that other guy too. You know what I mean? Pods can go off.
Yeah.
Pods can give you something, but I'm not going to rely on Pods to be my number 2 scorer in a playoff series. No, he's supposed to be like an ancillary piece that, has a nice series and puts up maybe 12 to 15 a night.
Like an X Factor.
An X Factor. He's not supposed to be someone who's your number 2 in a series against a team that plays really good defense.
Yeah.
So I think the Warriors are in trouble depending on their health. I don't know what their health looks like yet.
I was gonna say with the Rockets, especially to your point, like they're gonna kind of overload on guarding Curry. They had the defenders to do that. Most teams don't, but they had the defenders to kind of just be like, yo, we can put 2 on you. We can put long different type of defenders on you, kind of slow you down. So, and we saw in game 1 some of the shots Curry ended up hitting where they were Steph Curry shots, but they were like out of this world ridiculous shots. And if it takes that to win, then it takes that to win. But they're gonna throw everything at Curry. So somebody else needs to step up.
Definitely agree. All right, well, let us know what you think in the comments. Who do you think wins Game 3? Has your opinion on this series changed? You can follow us everywhere at The Dime NBA. We have the Knicks game tomorrow, so Knicks recap Thursday. We're going to have guests for you as well. Don't want to say who they are just yet, just in case something happens. You never know. Don't want to get you excited. But definitely going to do some check-ins with some of the teams that are playing in the playoffs, so look out for that. You can follow me everywhere at Josh_Rodriguez_. He's Kwab, at Kwab, a.k.a. Yes. Until tomorrow, until the Knicks take a 2-1 lead, hopefully.
Ha!
Hopefully.
Look at
we will see you for another episode of The Dime. Peace.